Good evening. This is Kilo Alpha 6 Echo Tango Echo. Net control for this evening's Northern Colorado Amateur Radio Club Tech Net. Looking for check-ins. Anyone wanting to check into tonight's Tech Net, please call now.
This happens to be K1DEG. I'm over here at KS4DUS. You can check us both in.
Good evening, Mike. And Mike, how are you doing this evening?
Oh, we're doing all right. He's inside, so I'll let him know I checked him in. But yeah, and just had to run him to dialysis and just brought him back. Waiting on him to come back out to reprogram his radio here. It's K1DEG.
Yeah, sounds good, and I'm sure everyone definitely appreciates what you did for him today. And thank you for checking in. Anyone else want to check in for tonight's Tech Net? Please call now.
KE0 RXF.
Hey, good evening, Randy. How are you doing today?
Good. Good.
I'm glad to hear you're doing good. Thank you for checking in. Anyone else?
This is M0 Wireless, Mike in Livermore.
How is Mike doing this evening? Smoky up at your place?
Well, it wasn't too bad earlier, but now it's really moving in here. We can't even see the mountains from where we are.
Oh, that sucks, yeah. It seems like it's been hanging close to the foothills today. I know for my place, I'm about 2 miles west of the foothills, or 2 miles east from the foothills and Devil's Backbone and that, and it's been fairly good here today, but it's all we can see is the first row of hills or the first ridge line, and can't see past that at all.
Yeah, it's getting nastier as the evening goes on up here.
Yeah, that's not good. Hopefully, I'll like to see some moisture to try and get some of the smoke out of the air, at least. Filter it a little bit and make it a little bit easier to breathe and help with the fire some. But thank you for checking in. Anyone else want to check in for this evening's Tech Net? Please call now.
Kilo 0 Alpha Romeo Delta. This is Ann in Fort Collins.
Hey, good evening, Ann. How are you doing today?
Doing okay. Again, smoky. It's been completely smoky here all day, all week. I'm out 2 miles east of I-25, and I haven't seen the mountains in about 10 days.
Oh, yeah. I've been out that way, I know. A week ago, I was out there. I got up that week ago yesterday, Sunday morning, and I couldn't even see the end of our road. It was so smoky here. It's definitely been bad. It's at least a little bit, it's a lot better at my house today than it has been in the past week, but it's still smoky out. Thank you for checking in. Yeah, this is Kilo Alpha 6 Echo Tango Echo looking for check-ins. Anyone wanting to check into tonight's Tech Net, please call now.
K0AZA, Ron in Fort Collins.
Good evening, Ron. How are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm doing well. Not quite as smoky out here. I'm on the southwest side of Fort Collins. Not quite as bad today as it was yesterday.
Yeah, definitely a big relief, at least for the day anyway. But thank you for checking in. Anyone else want to check in?
Alpha Echo 0, Charlie Foxtrot, Ben, Fort Collins.
Good evening, Ben. Sounds like there's a double there, but how are you doing this evening? There's smoky up in your neighborhood?
Yeah, it's been smoky, but clear up a little bit, but yeah, it comes and goes. Yeah, I just noticed that, all day, smoke has been causing real problems with solar panels. I've been out quite a bit of power due to smoke.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's blocking a lot of that sunlight and UV light that's needed for solar panels. It definitely has been terrible for keeping batteries and equipment charged up.
Yep, indeed. 8E0CF, back to net.
Yeah, thank you for checking in. Sound like there was a station the double with Ben. Try again, please.
Kilo Mike 6, Victor Alpha Yankee, Steve in Fort Collins.
Hey, evening, Steve. How are you doing today?
Yeah, real good. I was vacationing out at Twin Lakes out at Leadville for 2 weeks and just came back, walked into a heat wave and a smoke storm. Other than that, just fine.
Yeah, the heat out here has definitely been not helping with the smoke. It'd be nice to cool down a little bit, but it would, either one is a nice getaway if one of them goes away for a while. It's been averaging mid to high 90s every day for the past week and a half, it seems like.
Yeah, roger that. It's news to me. You know, I was on the Colorado Connection out there listening, so the guys were kind of talking about it. But I just heard that the zero containment, that's not getting any better. Is that correct?
That is correct. The main fire, the Cameron Peak fire, is zero containment, and it's up over 20,000 acres as of this morning or last night when they did the infrared. It went from 18,000 to just over 20,000 in a day, so and zero containment, and it's got a lot of long distance spotting away from the fire, so it's definitely not good for that area.
Well, I hate to say it, but I'm going to have to spend a couple weeks in Montana. This is just, I can't hardly breathe down here, to tell you the truth. Okay, Steve, back to net.
Thank you for checking in. Anyone else want to check in? Please call now.
Hey, Jim, November 0, Echo Mike Papa, Greg in Fort Collins with Debbie, K0DBE.
How is Greg and Debbie doing this evening? Probably glad to hear that the mandatory evacuations for your property got dropped to voluntary, or I think completely removed in that area, wasn't it?
Yeah, this morning it dropped to voluntary, and by this afternoon it had entirely dropped off. I guess that fire ran into the old burn scar from 2012, and that pretty much put an end to it. So we're happy to see that, and little break on the air quality today. It's been a little bit better, and I guess Thursday we're going to begin a cool down, and we're looking forward to a stretch where the highs are going to be in the 80s next week.
Yeah, definitely good to hear that, and definitely looking forward to the cool down. You know, it's been miserable, not only choking on smoke, but can't stand the heat outside whenever it's 97, 98 degrees. I think the one day I recorded 103 degrees at my house a few days ago.
Yeah, it's been a weird August, but I think we're going to break out of this here pretty quick, hopefully, and 0 EMP.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to it, and thank you for checking in. Okay, and this is Kilo Alpha 6 Echo Tango Echo looking for check-ins. Anyone wanting to check into tonight's Tech Net, please call now.
KD0TYU, Joe in Loveland.
0 Charlie Papa Romeo, Mark in Loveland.
Hey, I had a double there, but got Joe in there. How you doing this evening, Joe?
Oh, I'm doing fine. Fine, dandy. How are you?
Oh, doing good. Doing good. Been finally getting some more work done around my house, and was able to make the net this evening because I didn't have any last-minute conference calls to participate in.
I know the feeling. Oh, well, you have a good one.
Yeah, definitely, thank you. There was a doubling station in there. All I got was Romeo at the end. Hey, try again, please.
Kilo Echo 0 Charlie Papa Romeo, Mark down in Loveland.
Good evening, Mark. How are you doing today?
Not too bad. Glad towards the end of the day and hoping the night stays quiet.
Definitely be nice. Thank you for checking in. Ooh. One more round. Anyone want to check in for tonight's Tech Net? Please call now. I hear nothing. Again, this is Kilo Alpha 6 Echo Tango Echo Net Control for this evening's Northern Colorado Amateur Radio Club Tech Net. To start off, anyone have any questions or topics they would like to discuss with the net? Please call now.
Kilo Echo 0 Charlie Papa Romeo with the question, Jim.
Yeah, Mark, go ahead.
Not sure how easy this will be to answer, but my question is, I've been on the radio here for quite a few years now. Well, not a lot, but a few. And I am finding it hard to grasp some of the concepts. I'm definitely more of a hands-on visual type learner, and it seems like every time I read something or listen to everybody talking, it kind of goes in one ear and out the other. So I'm wondering if anybody has any tips on a way to get more proficient with all this and more of a hands-on way to do it, other than just, getting on network nets and, stuff, but how to get more familiar with things besides just reading about it.
That's a very good question, and I know one that a lot of people struggle with. There's definitely a large majority of people that are more hands-on learning, like to learn, but also at the same time don't want to just get on nets and ask questions. It's kind of the same thing as not really knowing what to do. I know for me personally, whenever I first started learning, or after I got my technician license many years ago, I just started playing around with different things, trying different things, and gradually started increasing my knowledge to where I would start experimenting a little bit, buying cheaper radios and stuff like that. I know the Bofang UV5R was very popular with a lot of people because it's a cheap radio. I actually went out and bought 2 of them to where I wanted to know exactly, figure out what makes a radio work and how to test the different components and that, so I figured what better than a cheap radio, and I actually bought them and ended up cutting them apart, tearing them apart, testing different things just to figure out how things work. I know that's not always good for a lot of people, money aspects and everything else, not really wanting to throw money away, but it's definitely something if you have an old radio and you want to learn how they work, definitely digging into them and seeing how they work and stuff is one way of learning hands-on without getting on the air. Anyone have anything they would like to add or comments they would like to add?
N0EMP.
N0EMP, Greg, go ahead.
Yeah, question for Mark. Are you talking more about radio theory, or are you talking about operating and programming and setting up radios, things like that?
Quite a mixture of both, but a lot of it is just programming, setting up radios. It's kind of funny. Back when I was in the Corps, I was a field radio repairman, and I could tear a radio apart, put it back together, and troubleshoot them and everything else. But unfortunately, I waited too long to start getting back into the ham side of things once I got out and lost a lot of that knowledge. So I understand a lot of the real simple basic theory that I still remember. It's just some of it is I guess remembering, the different frequencies, and I know a lot of it's going to come with memory. I just got to start getting it into my head a little bit more. But just different types of radio setups, the different uses for them, what works better in what conditions, stuff like that.
Well, I'm kind of in the same boat that you're in, that I really don't understand something till I can really make a visual model in my head of how it works. Somebody starts dropping into mathematical formulas and things, my brain slams shut. Until such time as I can build my own model in my head of what's going on. But to that end, there's a lot of really good YouTube videos, and I'm sure you're aware there's a million people out there doing YouTube videos, and they all have their own style. Occasionally I'll find somebody that has a style that I understand, and then watching their explanations of things works for me, and you just have to find those examples, and they're out there. You just have to search until you find them. And then usually when you find a person that can explain one thing in a manner that you'll comprehend, all the rest of their videos are also good, so you watch all their stuff. As far as frequencies go, I really like the ARRL color band chart, what our band limitations are, and for the general, that's how I learned. To me, the general test was harder than the extra because you had some bands you could use and parts of bands you could use and parts of bands you couldn't. There was no logical explanation, you just had to memorize it. And I used a color chart, and I made extra notes on it for like digital modes and baud rates and things, and that's how I learned that part of it. That was all memorization, but the rest of it you find somebody that explains it in a way that your brain works, and then you're going to be good to go. And 0 EMP.
Okay. Yeah, I have looked on YouTube, and I think that's just been my struggle, as I haven't found somebody that kind of explains it the way my mind wants to interpret it. So I will keep looking at that stuff, trying to figure some out. But that's kind of what I was wondering. If there was, now that I know there are some out there, I'll definitely keep digging and trying to find the right one. But yeah, I mean, nothing against anybody. There's so many people that are so smart about this stuff and can rattle things off and everything else. And I listen to the Tech Nets and just communications through the day, and pretty soon my mind just shuts off and is like, don't get it, and then I forget the stuff I actually did comprehend from the conversation because I go into that shutdown mode. So I'll definitely look at some more YouTube and do what I can whenever there's seminars and classes and everything else to try to find my niche so I can get a better grasp on this stuff.
Let me make sure I have this, but I do have two folks I can really recommend for two specific areas of radio theory here. Let me make sure I have this. Okay, if you want to get into balance and ununs and RF chokes and transmission line transformers, you go to TRX Bench, Tango Romeo X-Ray Bench. There's a guy there that when I build balance, I build his design, and he has a series. They're really kind of long because he really takes it slow. But if you sit through it, you'll learn a lot, and you'll understand what they're doing and why they're doing what they do and why they make them that way. And you'll save yourself a lot of money if you need balance, because you can make your own. The other thing is, if you want to get into software-defined radio and how it works and what IQ is and how that works, is Michael Osman with Great Scott Gadgets. Makes the Hack RF. He's got a series of 12 or so videos that are a learn by doing thing with GNU radio and SDR, and you'll learn a lot. And again, he explains with drawings and animations and things that my brain works with anyway. And 0 EMP.
Copy that. Thank you very much. I did write those down, so I'll take a look at them. I do appreciate the help and pointing me in the right direction. Unless anybody else has any other ideas, I'll turn it back over to Jim. Thank you very much. KE0 CPR.
W2MIC.
W2MIC. Mark, go ahead.
Oh, I have several suggestions, and I have to tease Greg about the time he asked me how a circularly polarized wave worked, and I was able to send him a YouTube video that showed that a circularly polarized wave is two regular waves, one retarded relative to the other, with really good graphics. Back to the general question, I would suggest two other really good YouTube channels. The first is a channel by Dave Kassler, Casler. He is a fellow Coloradoan, and he has a whole bunch of explain the concept and demonstrate it videos. He does instructional videos for getting your technician, your general, your extra, and he also demos individual radios, antennas, products, and explains what they are, how they work, and how to use them. And he does hands-on demos, so he doesn't just set it on the table and wave his hands and talk. He actually uses
I'm Dave
the thing
Kassler, amateur radio call sign KE0OG.
The other channel I suggest is Ham Radio Concepts, all one word. He is another excellent explainer, and he also does what is it, why do you want one, how does it work, how do you use it, and again, instead of setting it on the table and waving his hands, he actually plugs it in, turns it on, uses it, talks about why it works, how it works, why you would want to use it, why you wouldn't want to use it. And he does this with hardware, radios, building his own antennas, putting up commercially made antennas and how to assemble them. I would go spend a fair amount of time on those two channels because those are both very hands-on guys and they're really easy to understand. Back to Net.
Thank you, Greg, and thank you, Mark, for that addition. Dave Kessler has a lot of good information available, and he's been doing videos for a very long time, so that he definitely has, if you're looking for something, he has something about it, and what I like about his videos is he'll tell you exactly what he knows. If he doesn't know something, he'll pretty much tell you where you can find the answer, or at least start looking for the answer that he does not know. And another one that I like that also he speaks in layman terms is Ham Radio Crash Course. The name of the YouTube channel seems like it would just be teaching you how to use ham radio, but he definitely gets into a lot of how-to stuff and reviews and different things as far as setup and stuff like that, so that's another option out there also. But thank you for the question. Anyone else have any comments or additions for the current topic?
KM6 VAY.
Steve, go ahead.
Well, I find myself in pretty much the same position, a new ham with an extra license, and I need help from experienced guys. But with the COVID, we really haven't been able to sit down with the club and do a whole lot. I like Crash Course and Dave Caspar. I use them to get my extra license. And Eric, the concepts guy, he's out of Vero Beach, Florida. He kind of just got some new property at his grandparents' house, and he's kind of going homesteader. He's still around, but he's a little burnt out on the radio thing. Whereas Crash Course, Josh, he's got over 100,000 subscribers. He's by far the largest. Dave's my favorite. I just wanted to mention I've got a full set of ARRL study guides. I know the gentleman mentioned he's more of a hands-on guy and maybe studying isn't his thing, but I've got a full set, all three courses, all three levels, and I was going to donate to the club. If the club would like me to, I'd be happy to deliver them to the gentleman if he'd like. That's all I've got. KM6 VAY.
KD02RU.
Joe, go ahead.
We would take them, but we normally don't, just because they're kind of timely. If they're all kind of current, I'll go ahead and put them in the library, but normally we don't take them, but for you, I guess we could. How does that work? And we can get together afterwards.
Okay, roger that. Tech in general are current, and the extra just expired, just recently, but Dave Kassler said there wasn't a whole lot of changes. So that's what I've got. If you want to give me any further direction, I'll bring them to you guys at our next get-together or special delivery, if you like.
We'll work something out. Our next get-together might be, February. I don't know. Just send me a note at president@ncarc.net, and we'll talk back and forth, and we'll get this thing done.
Well, that sounds good, Joe. Thanks for the interest. It's KM6 VAY. I'm clearing your final.
Thank you for that, Steve, and thank you for stepping in there, Joe. I was actually just going to see if you were still in there whenever you called out. Yeah, this is Kilo Alpha 6 Echo Tango Echo net control for this evening's NCARC Tech Net. If anyone else have any questions or comments they would like to discuss with the net, please call now.
Yeah, KD02YU.
Yeah, go ahead, Joe.
I'll tell you the real story, not the story I was going to make up. I've got an old CB antenna here that says you don't need to use radios on it, and I laugh at it because it didn't work without radios. Thinking about setting it up and thinking about making a counterpoise for it with a shaft collar and things off it like that. Has anybody ever done that?
I have not sure if anyone else has. I know a friend of mine, I cannot think of his call sign right now, but he actually took a CB antenna fire stick and converted it. He pulled the outer casing off, converted it to where it would work on 2 meter and 440 for a very durable ham antenna. I don't see why it wouldn't work. I mean, it'd definitely be interesting to play around with it and see what you could get out. What frequency are you trying to get it to work on? Are you trying for like the 10 meter, use it for like a 10 meter antenna, or the CB antenna that for the CB bands?
Well, I was thinking about using it for the CB bands just because I've got this radio and I got everything here, and I thought, well, shoot, I'll just throw it outside because it won't cost me anything. But this counterpoise, in fact, I've got a note out on a CB thing, and they say, oh, don't worry about it, it'll work fine. Well, it don't, because I've tried it before, and it just doesn't. And the reason is because it doesn't have any, and I'm not going to put a bunch of ground radios in for that thing. That'd be a waste of money. But what I'm wondering is that the length of the thing is only 39 inches long, which maybe it's got a coil in it or whatever. I wouldn't even know how long to make those radios. Do I make them like a quarter wave, or do I just make it as long as the 39 inches? Okay.
There was a double in there, and did not get anything out of that. One of you want to try again?
K0HAK.
It was K0AJK.
Hey Jim, that was actually me, Dave, that made that antenna out of the Fire Stick. And yeah, it worked pretty good. Terry helped me with it, but it didn't use any radials on it or anything. It still required the ground plane on the vehicle. So I'm not sure if my experimentation in that realm would really help in this or not. One of the things that I was thinking was, if you've got an antenna analyzer, you might be able to create those radials and then just trim them to a point where they need to be if you need to tune it.
SUN.
That might work, but the thing is, I don't even know where to start. I mean, if I start out at a quarter wave, them's some pretty long radials.
EMP. Just a second, Greg. I heard SUN. Alec, go ahead.
Well, I don't know if it's going to help you in any way, shape, or form, but I've got a counterpoise antenna. The counterpoise this is for it's a 66-foot antenna. It's for HF. But the counterpoise is as long as the antenna, and it's NFED half wave. So if that being said, the counterpoise is really just going to be your ground plane. So I would start with as long as you can make it. Whatever is going to fit, because it is going to create the ground plane. I don't think it matters if it's too long, like way too long. I don't think that's really going to make much of a difference. If it's too short that you're going to have the problem. KC0SUN.
Yeah, thank you for that, Alec. Before we get to Greg, I have a question for Dave, K0AJK. Whenever you converted that Fire Stick over to the ham radio antenna, whenever you peeled the plastic or shrink wrap off the outside of the antenna, wasn't it coiled at the base of it to make up the difference for the length?
Yeah, there was a coil in there. I think it was closer to the top, but it was just some wire, just kind of coiled up. The whole thing is basically just a very thin wire going up that fiberglass rod with a coil up, probably about, I don't know, 2/3 of the way up.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. I just figured I'd get that before we go on to Greg with his comment. N0EMP, go ahead.
Yeah, for the CB band, 27 megahertz, quarter wavelength is about 8.5 feet. So if you want to make radials for that antenna, make them 8.5 feet long and start there, and you'll probably be pretty close. 3 or 4 radials up off the ground at the feed point at the base of the antenna. But if that antenna is only 39 inches long, it's got a big coil in it, and it's not going to be very efficient. If you want an antenna for at the house for CB, I'd throw that thing in the trash, and I would just make a wire antenna with a vertical wire hanging off a tree, 8.5 feet long, and then 3 or 4 8.5-foot vertical, radials coming off at the feed point, and feed it with coax, and then use your antenna analyzer and fine-tune it from there. N0EMP.
Thanks, Greg, for that. That's kind of what I was thinking about doing, but I just happened to have this thing, and, to be honest with you, I don't even know where it came from. It's new. It's still in the box, so it's not something that I must have bought something with a deal or whatever. But I don't know. I was just trying to do this for free because I've got the radio and I got everything. And I thought, I'll just set it up here because I got about 3/8 of an inch here that I could slip a radio into, and that's the only thing I was thinking about doing.
Yeah, 8.5-foot vertical wire will work a lot better than that thing with some radials on it.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for that, Greg. Yeah, I was going to say the 39-inch CB antenna is definitely a mobile antenna where it's got a good image plane and vehicle for a counterpoise or whatever you want to consider it using off the vehicle, but it's definitely a mobile antenna, not a base, so I don't see how anyone could even remotely say that would work without any type of counterpoise or radial system on it.
I agree. There was one thing that I thought was odd about the information that was on it. It says you must have at least 18 feet of coax hooked to it. Why would they, at least, a minimum, why would that be a spec?
Because it's using the coax for a counterpoise, which you really don't want to do.
We all want RF going back to our radio, don't we?
How would that work as a counterpoise if it's not underneath it?
It uses the shield running away from the antenna.
MIC.
Yeah, I know. That's one thing I remember back from when I did a lot of CB stuff is they always said you want a minimum 18 feet of coax feeding your antenna because it was a counterpoise for the antenna, and it never worked because half the time you would take 18 feet of it and your vehicle's only have 7 feet, so you end up with 10 feet of it coiled up somewhere in the dash or under a seat somewhere, so it never works like they say it does. But W2MIC, Mark, go ahead.
Joe, my short answer is quarter wave. my intermediate answer is, as always, where's the other half of your antenna? So with a half-wave dipole, horizontally, you've got the driven half and the shield half. With a vehicle mount and a mag mount, or an NMO mount, the antenna is sticking up and the metal of the vehicle is the other half of your antenna. With a CB, with a shortened whip, with a coil in it, you're going to get much poorer radiation efficiency than if you just took a classic 8-foot CB whip. With the coax answer, which is a true but a terrible answer, the shield of your coax is acting as the other half of your antenna, your counterpoise, if you will, and injecting current back into the radio and scrambling all sorts of things inside the radio and increasing your noise level. And some CB people don't know and don't care. With respect to a vertical, either a wire or a CB whip that will stand up to the wind, and radials, you'd really like to have 3. They should be a quarter wave on whatever band you're working on. Back to net.
Thanks, Mark. I think it's probably just better off just if I jump on HF and talk there, and I know I can go. And the specs on this thing is, if you want to go 2 miles or 4 miles, no, I want to go 50. Well, that don't happen. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. K0TYU.
Definitely. Thank you for the question, Joe, and everyone for their contribution. This is Kilo Alpha 6 Echo Tango Echo net control for this evening's Tech Net. We have anyone else have any questions or comments for the net? Please call now.
SUN.
SUN, Alec, go ahead.
I just wanted to brag. I got my first DX in northern Italy today. I'm up here at Carter Lake with my 7300, and that end-fed antenna, counterpoise laying on the ground, and a 9-to-1 balun in the middle of it, fed with coax. And at the middle of the day, on 20 meters, I was able to get DX to northern Italy. So that's it. No questions, no comments. Just kind of wanted to brag.
Definitely no harm there. It's always fun getting your first DX contact. I know I've stayed up at the Carter Lake campgrounds and that a couple times over the past year, and it's definitely a good place and fun place to operate from. Thanks for that. Anyone else have any questions or comments they'd like to share with the net? Please call now. Hearing nothing, I'd like to thank everyone who checked in this evening and those that contributed to the topics of discussion. I'll also remind everyone Wednesday evening is the NCARC Club Net at 6:30 p.m. with early check-in starting at 6. As always, look forward to hearing from everyone again next week. Hope everyone has a good week and stay safe and try and stay out of the smoke, and hopefully it'll clear up soon. This is Kilo Alpha 6 Echo Tango Echo closing the net and returning the repeater to normal use. 7-3. Have a good evening, everyone.